Hi, we're back with our new episode. Today we're talking about histamines and allergies to mold and what actually causes your eyes to water and your nose to run.
I always thought it was you when I was a kid. Definitely allergic to you.
You were probably correct.
Still am.
That was an allergic spore floating around.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go anaphylactic any second now.
Little did we know I'd turn into the mold-fighting dude, right?
That's still not going to be cool ever. Not going to be cool ever.
Fighting mold scams, one mold spore at a time. How about that?
You love that. Now,
I love that one.
That's your thing.
That's a good one. I thought of that logo
right?
myself.
By himself.
All by me. So yeah, today is going to be the histamines and how they actually fight off mold spores and kill them before they kill you. What people don't understand is you breathe in mold all day long.
All of your life.
And it's in your food and you eat it, right? Histamines come out and they mark them and they kill them. But why does your eyes run? Well, it's not the mold doing that. That's the histamines doing that to flush out the mold from your eyes, believe it or not. Your nostrils, believe it or not, it's up in there. That's why they could do a swab up your nose with mold spores. Wellness professionals, gotta love those guys.
We got to talk about that today.
Yeah, we got to talk about that today. And how misleading all that information is. You take a Zyrtec, you take whatever, an antihistamine pill, and the symptoms go away. You're still breathing in the mold. You're not taking an anti-mold pill. You're taking an antihistamine pill. So the histamines are what make the eyes water and run, the throat scratchy, the rashes, anaphylactic shock. It just depends on the level of your allergy. There's like different levels, and some are more serious than others. So if you have an allergy to mold, that's what's going to happen. Your body's going to react, and too many histamines come out. It's like the bucket's overflowing of histamines, and that's why your eyes are wet. So you have to stop that histamine. It killed off the mold, but now you got to stop the histamines from making the symptoms. That's what people don't understand. You're not taking an anti-mold pill, and you're not stopping breathing in the mold. You're breathing in the mold. So when we come back, we're going to get into how that happens and how the information is so skewed that people forget about the common way the body works. Alrighty, we'll be back. So we're back, and understanding histamines and mast cell activation and how the body actually protects you from mold is very important, because if you know this stuff, if you know some form of biology, like Biology 101, if you know these things, you won't get screwed over from the information you're hearing outside. People said, well, the COVID thing, the CDC and the EPA lied to us, so screw them. And that's a lot of things that I hear from the industry. Those guys will argue with me online about mold sampling and all that because they believe in it, right? Because they've been telling people for years that this is real.
Because it makes them money.
Right. So then they go, those government websites, they lied to us. They're scumbags. Okay, but even in your disclaimers, it says these are the people you should be listening to, number one. And number two, if you knew science, you wouldn't get fooled. You would know where to read the real legit information. So that's very important. So when you hear these stories about how mold is going to become toxic and it's going to make you sick and give you these illnesses, which mold does not do, mold only triggers the existing illness. It doesn't make the existing illness. Right?
Right.
It's moldy. And so you have to understand that the body is always protecting you. It's protecting you about many different pathogens out there. And to single in just on mold has to be the problem. That's your self-diagnosis with no scientific reasoning. That's the problem. And I even have to say that to people. I go, well, that's an assumption. Just because you saw the mold over there, and now all of a sudden everybody in the family is sick. That's one thing. You walk into a house and you get these irate people who just want to convince everybody in the family that they're sick. Well, one time I went in, this lady was quite descriptive of the illnesses. So I go in, and her kid's playing the piano like Beethoven over here. You got the other guy out, the kid outside. He's playing soccer in the grass. I had to break that news to her. And, you know, and it's like, oh my God, you look, the demons just came out. There's a certain personality that's going to talk like a little kid, docile when they first call you. And they're going to say, I want mold sampling in my house because I'm afraid my children are being toxic from mold. And I had a mold sample done by a doctor, and he said, I have high levels of this mold, whatever. Mycotoxins, they love that word too.
They love the word mycotoxins.
Mycotoxins aren't about even a wet building. We have wet building syndrome. We have wet dilapidated buildings. Wet dilapidated buildings are what these articles are really about. Those are buildings that you can't live in. You can't go in. It has nothing to do with the mold. It has to do with the fact that the house is falling apart. The foundation broke, the frame shifted, the pipes pull apart, the place is leaking, it's wet, there's, you know, it's bad. You can't go in there, so they red flag it. That's a wet, dilapidated building. So then you have sicknesses caused by that wet, dilapidated building. And if you read those articles fully, not the typical meme Instagram reader today, you can almost find yourself doing that. Me, like, oh, that makes sense. So you want to go with it. But then you want to go research it and you find out, it's not even, that's not even close, right? So you have to be able to research this properly and understand what you're even afraid of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Best color commentator
I
ever.
almost forgot where I was. Where was I?
Oh, no, we're old.
Yeah. So wet dilapidated buildings and wet building syndrome are actually caused by bacterial and viral influences in the air. Stagnant air with mold, with moisture that infiltrates the lungs, builds mucus. And if you have an immune disorder, that mucus isn't going to go away. The bacteria and the mold accumulate on the lungs and the mucus, and that mucus makes them grow, and then it becomes an infection. They're leaving out a lot in the stories that a normal human being would still be affected living in a wet, dilapidated building, but slightly. Like it'll become a nuisance. They won't be able to breathe because of the humidity in the room.
Look, we're talking about a wet, dilapidated building.
Not a
crack
wet
den.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it's a flop house
den.
where everybody's flopping around. There's no plumbing. It's just.
It's not America, really. It's third world countries. They've done these studies, and then they'll say wet building syndrome, and they put this in the disclaimers too, as if this is a reality of your house because it just had a toilet leak.
Yeah.
And no, that's not even close. So people have this grand illusion of what even a mold infestation looks like. Some will send me something that's no larger than the light switch. A patch of mold on your wall. These are normally tenants who want to argue with their landlords about how to do this, which you have no right to do, first of all. He owns the house. You don't. Your right, your requirement is to follow the lease and tell your landlord when you see something that's broken or something growing or whatever. But you yourself, as the leasee, are not allowed to tell your landlord how to fix this home. You can't demand it. Where the landlord messes up is that they're a do-it-yourself landlord. They didn't read the rules and regulations. They don't know the laws. They don't have a license. And even still, most of them are boneheads with the license because nobody reads the state requirements, which are recommendations, not requirements. And you know what? I just read that one about IICRC procedures in the disclaimers, and it's recommendations to follow the IICRC procedures. And then they put in there, failure to follow these procedures can lead to health issues. But then you go through the rest of the disclaimer. This is not a health diagnosis. We are not doctors. Okay.
Well, yeah, it gets confusing. It gets confusing for a reason. I just don't know what the reason is.
Because everybody's
they go
got their
back
own
and
info.
forth and pull you in and pull you out, and by the time you're done, you're going, am I dying or not?
What do we have to do here? So the exaggerated processes are what are used to increase the pricing. You got histamines that nobody knows about that kill off mold. So it's not about a mold spore escaping your containment. That's not what the containment's for either. The containment's for dust control and other allergens coming out of the wall, other viral stuff. And then they go, why do you wear a mask in the containment? Okay, were that brain dead? You're cutting drywall.
I don't want to breathe that.
Okay, you're cutting it. It's smoky everywhere. I got fans in the window. Things are being pulled out. I got vacuums. We got maybe lead in the wall. We got other things. We got paint particles. You got drywall particles. You got insulation. That's fiberglass. You got things floating in there. You're not supposed to be breathing in larger particles than mold, and those are big particles. So you don't want to breathe those in. So you have to wear a mask. That's what the OSHA is really worried about, is the employee during the work.
Yep.
Okay, it's not about the mold spore. But when you read recommendations, they're going to say, "Oh, put on the gloves, put on the mask, put on the eyeglass." That's because they have to assume you're compromised. You're a person who is going to be compromised when you go near mold. So the EPA just has to say this because most people aren't going to use common sense.
I think they say that so that the people who don't use just regular common sense don't sue them.
Don't sue them.
That's
like
it.
Bleach. They say use bleach.
Mm-hmm.
They're just worried you're going to fry your lungs like an idiot standing there spraying it around and you're breathing in the fumes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the mold man told me to spray these bleach. No, the mold man told you put the fan in the window, spray it, walk out. If it gets too fumy, shut the door, make sure the fan's still rolling, and those vapors will go out the door. And then you go back in and you clean your shower off, you rinse it off, your toilet, whatever, and everything's clean. Bleach works fantastic. It kills the bonds of the proteins in the mold. It breaks them apart within 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I have people online telling me, no, it just dyes the mold. Really. It burns your skin. Okay, I had a second-degree burn on my wrist.
Your hands were destroyed that one time. John, take the ring off. You're going to ruin it.
Yeah, and so you're like, well, how does it just dye mold when it's ripping my skin off? Or it's going to make your lungs burn.
Bleach is
or your eyes
caustic
burn.
as hell.
It's toxic, so you got to watch out. You just got to use it properly. But, you know, we never had those issues when we were younger. Mom would walk in. She'd like, move out of the way, kid. She'd spray it with the thing, and then she'd walk out. I remember the walls were, we lived in New York. So
lawn darts, click clack.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit. Oh, and how about that bubble stuff with the different colors?
I could still smell that shit.
That was toxic crap.
Toxic as hell.
And it was like this polyurethane shit that you were breathing in as a kid.
Now everybody's going to get sued over something.
Yeah, so now everybody's going to get sued. So today, they don't know how to use bleach. How do you use it? It's like, what? You're kidding me. Okay. You put a little bit in the bottle, maybe a quarter of the bottle, you fill it with bleach, the rest of it, the 3 parts of water. And then you just spray it with a cone spray nice and lightly in your shower. Mm-hmm. Spray it off, all the mold's going to go away, the dirt's going to go away, the grime's going to go away, and you just have to rinse it off. That's
if it's a bathroom, you're going to have to clean it again.
Right.
And then you're going to have to clean it again.
Right. So we're getting off the subject of histamines, but we'll come back to that. Okay?
We'll focus. I promise we'll focus.
We'll focus, and we will get back to you on the histamines and how that works. All right. So stay tuned. Maybe even look up some histamine information and how histamines kill mold in your body. Okay. That's the way you got to ask the question. And when we come back, we'll talk about it. All right, we're back.
I know you're excited about that.
Man, just hold yourself still because it's histamine time. And how the histamines actually work. And then they're in your baby. And when your baby pops out of your womb, he's breathing in mold spores, he sees light, and he has oxygen.
Back up. He's already been breathing in the mold spores. Mom's got the mold spores.
Are they breathing in the womb or are they just eating away?
Yes, you do breathe the amniotic fluid.
They're breathing in the amniotic fluid like a little fish. And then we pop out, and the body is already defending itself against mold. If it didn't, it would be dying like the boy in the bubble. You would have an autoimmune disorder.
And you can have a big, super immune disorder, but most people don't. Just because you see mold doesn't mean you're going to die.
Right. And even with an autoimmune disorder, you have variables you still need, like excessive moisture and cold, no heater, Walls are sweating constantly because they don't have insulation. So it's cold outside, makes condensation on your walls, mold's growing. And then they get sick, but they'll move away from the house as the remediation is happening. Because we've been involved with code enforcement and health departments in different cities. And we've had to tear out these interior of homes. Those are the legit cases. And I don't rip on everybody. It's like when you have an actual immune disorder, removing yourself from that source of that bad home, you'll feel better 2 to 3 days after. Period. He even said it to me. That's scientifically proven. The mold is now flushing out of your body, the excessive amount, but it's also the mucus drying up in his lungs, and now he's able to breathe easier.
And again, he had a big immune disorder.
Real huge. He was from the military. And you couldn't have been a landlord with the worst case scenario of a tenant who was not lying, was not making up these stories, was not being exaggerative. I actually had to step back for a second because I was talking to the dad, talking to the son when I went into there the first time, and I had to step back because of the reality of the son having this excessive autoimmune disorder needed to be taken very seriously, and everything started lining up with scientific research. That's why you got to know scientific research. It's not easy to read.
It's some dry shit.
It's dry and it goes on forever. And they say this word that you don't even know what it is. Highlight it.
Great. Another word I got to look up. And then it's dry reading.
The cool thing is you could just highlight it today. Google, what is that? You don't have to go and get your Encyclopedia Britannica, right?
So they don't even know what you're talking about right now.
What's that? So, yeah. So if you know the words, eventually you start to get used to reading it and you know where the results are and you know how to read those. And that's how you know you're becoming educated and you're not going to get fooled by people anymore.
And we are not on one person's side. We are not on the tenant side solely. We are not on the landlord's side solely.
Good point.
We just want the truth.
We will only represent the person who is telling the truth. And because the person who's lying, I will say to them, this is not going to become favorable to you. If I go into a house and it's bad, it needs to be fixed up, it's ugly as hell, it's dirty, the windows are broken, this, that, and the other, I will tell the landlord, you called me and you thought this was full of shit. You thought the tenant was full of shit. Problem is, tenant's not full of shit. And I would just walk into this house and it's in really bad condition. This is not going to be in your favor. I just want you to know that. And you're going to have to fix a bunch of stuff in this house to help this tenant out. So being a real estate broker too also helps because tenants, if they have allergies, they're the broken shell. They're the one with the problems, and the landlord has to understand that when you're living in a home. But we're getting off the subject. We got to talk about histamine. They will kill mold. So when you have an overabundance of histamines, your body starts to try to push it out.
It's flushing.
It's flushing, and then you're trying to turn that off. That's called an allergy. It doesn't mean you have a health issue. It means you have an allergy. So you're going to be sick, so, sneezing, coughing, whatever. Your eyes are going to be running at the family barbecue because all the bushes and everything, the summertime just started. Everything's popping now and it's floating around. So you're going to be having issues inside the house or outside the house. Okay. So when you tell me you're allergic and you only realize this when you walk into a home and you're convinced of this, we have to call bullshit. And then, so at the other point, do you like to hike? I ask questions, and these questions lead to something. And they go, oh yeah, I go hiking all the time. My girlfriend and I, we go in the bushes, and the wind's blowing in our hair, and we love it, and everything's great, and I feel so much better when I get home. And then yesterday I came in, I pulled out some items from my closet. I saw black mold, and I started getting sick.
It's an instantaneous sickness.
Yeah. So how did you not get sick on the trail? Because you had more mold spores on that trail with a VO2 max, which means the volume of air in your lungs increases when you exercise. So you're sucking in more oxygen to deliver more oxygen to your muscle tissue, right? Well, that means you're sucking in everything else. And therefore, your histamines are now kicking in, and you don't even know it unless you have an allergy. And if you're walking with a bunch of people in the same group and you're down a trail, and somebody starts going, oh, God, these allergies are killing me. My eyes are swollen. Yeah, that's the histamines doing it, because guess why? there's allergens floating in the air. There's mold spores. There's pollen. There's other things.
Probably ate a bug or two.
Yeah. And you got mold all over your shoes. And then you go put these shoes back into your closet, which may be humid and dark. And then the mold spores start to grow. Nobody understands why the mold spores are growing on their shoes. I used to get this calls all the time from tenants. And so you have to go, look, it's not toxic. And if you even have an allergy, you're basically like, you're like a magnetic finder, one of those metal finders on the beach. You're the guy that finds the mold in the party, because all of a sudden your eyes start to water. Hey, there's a lot of mold floating around today, because he's the allergy sufferer. And that's how you could tell.
But it's only an allergy.
Right.
If you go immediately and say, I need a doctor's advice. I think I have mold sickness. Well, a doctor, a legitimate GP, is not going to tell you that, because there is no such thing.
And they're going to run an allergy test.
And you may be allergic to mold, legitimately allergic to it.
You remember the last, there was one when the mother showed everyone the allergy test and claimed she's allergic to mold.
She was more allergic to shrimp and salmon than she gave us the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that was really the least of her concerns. She had some legit food allergies, and most of it was shellfish and another kind of fish. She did have a higher elevation in the mold, but it wasn't anything serious. It honestly was not serious.
Right.
Was it unpleasant for her? Probably.
Yeah.
But more so for her than the rest of the family.
Right.
But that becomes the focus.
And she disclosed all of this to us. So we were able to use it for the report, and we showed that the kid was more allergic to food products than they were from mold flow.
I think I even asked her, did she just give this to you? And she did.
Yeah,
thinking
she did.
It would prove her point. And honestly, it did not.
And during the winter, the mold would grow behind the beds on the wall interiorly, because the walls were cold walls. And like I have to explain this. So you have a wall in an old house that's an exterior wall, meaning when you look outside the window of that room, there's the backyard or the side yard. Okay. A lot of times you don't get sunlight on that wall. Well, during the winter, you have no insulation in the wall. It's like a glass of water on your table with ice inside. It sweats on the outside of the glass. That's what's happening on your drywall. The temperature difference draws out the moisture drips down your wall. Why does it only grow behind the bedding or the furniture? Because it's protected by light, and light is heat, and it's protected by wind. From wind and from light. From light. Oh, okay. Yeah. From wind and from light. Whisperer. So when you have the moisture added, it starts to grow. It takes about 48 hours for that to start. And the mold spores that are already there will start to grow behind the bed. So you move your bed, you're doing some spring cleaning. Oh my God, there's mold over here. It's all over my bedding. And they want to throw it away.
That's when we get the calls. I had to throw out the bedding. I had to throw out clothing. My daughter is very sick, instantly sick.
Right. Instantly.
No.
And so you go in and everybody's doing a tap dance in their regular life, and you realize there's nothing going on here.
Look, it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
An allergy is unpleasant, but it's not going to kill you.
No.
You just hate it.
And some people go, I'm having allergic reactions. I can't breathe. I'm dizzy. I can't get out of bed. Yeah. My eyes are black. No, lady, that's not an allergy reaction.
It's not a thing.
That's something else. That's called, when people tell me they can't breathe, number one, the lungs do not bring in air. They receive air. The muscle tissues expand. The rib cage expands. The muscle tissue, the diaphragm drops, and it draws in air to the lungs by negative air.
That's not legitimate.
No.
It's not the legitimate complaint.
Right. So if you can't breathe, my point is, it's because the muscle tissues have frozen from anxiety, and now you can't breathe. Well, you're giving yourself so much anxiety. I guarantee you that's probably one of the major symptoms in most every psychosomatic illness you have. And they continue with this, and mold sampling has to be real. Mold sampling has to be a science, because guess what? They probably scammed their own family into this process 2 or 3 other times. And we're going to get into cases where a woman saw me walk in after getting kicked out of her rental for the first commotion she made, didn't like me, threw a fit. I love this, but she screamed and yelled. And then when I came to the second rental, she was doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see the look on her kid's face. That was the one where the kid goes, yeah, well, Mom, you hid the filter in the air system. Don't you remember? Because I asked, where's the filter in the air system?
Brilliant.
She goes, I don't know. And the kid goes, well, you told Daddy to put it in the garage.
Kids are great.
Oh, she yelled at him, right? And so I'm like, oh, she got caught. But then she moved out of that house at the very end because she didn't want to compete against it. She was just trying to convince everybody in her family that what she was doing was correct. She actually hid out in her bedroom and wouldn't come out when I came in. That was great.
It's rent payment-itis more than it is anything else.
So when we come back, hopefully we'll make more sense and stay on the subject of mold. So we're back, and I gotta put my earphones on. Yeah, what's going on, John The Moldman?
You had a moldy moment.
I was fighting something. I was fighting some thoughts about mold. I live and breathe mold. I sleep in my bed, and I dream of mold. No, not me.
Wow.
So
let's forget that.
we all have histamines, and yes, it is. They're gonna kill it off the second you breathe them in. So when you go to your wellness professional and they go, oh, you got mycotoxin levels in your urine. It's not your bloodstream because, let's face it, this person has a certification offline.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to convince you that you have some type of illness. Why? Because you just walked into the wellness professional's office.
Oh, you're sick.
You're sick.
You're ill.
Yeah. And then they go, the doctors don't know what they're doing. They know nothing, right? And the FDA kind of screwed themselves with this whole experimental thing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they get more validity from the customer. And the customer now feels heard. And this is what the wellness gypsy, I like to call them. And they're going to pick up on that. And they're going to go, well, let's do a urine test. Okay. The urine test is always going to show mold. Always going to show mold. And it doesn't say high or low because there are none. The FDA has never said anything in the human body. Therefore, it's either there or it's not. And it's going to be there. Different types will be picked up. Big deal. It's the type of food you're eating, your diet, your lifestyle.
Where you live,
your environment around you, right?
Do you play soccer? Do you play softball on the weekends? Do your kids and you're out on the fields all the time?
What kind of grass is it?
Mold.
Is it longhorn grass? Is it whatever grass? If it's a green, whatever. It's every type of plant has a different type of strain of mold growing on it. So we have so many different strains. You don't even know how many strains there are anymore. It's a lot, but they all function the same way. But your wellness gypsy is going to convince you that this is bad. And a lot of times parents will single out one child.
It's always one kid.
It's
almost always one kid in particular.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just a girl or it's not just a boy. It's that one kid in the family.
Which proves more than ever it's an allergy and nothing else. Because if it was something truly environmental, everybody would be sick.
Right. The whole family would be sick.
And I have heard John point that out on the videos, and they'll turn around and say, well, we all feel bad.
We all
feel something.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
We're all staring at our cell phones every day. We have headaches from our trapezius muscle. I'll get into that because I know anatomy. So people go, I got headaches. Well, that could be because you're looking at your computer screen all day and you got a trigger point somewhere and it's making your head hurt.
Well, let me know when that's going to happen. I'll bring bourbon because I'm going to need some entertainment for that.
It's funny how you can explain these things very quickly to people and they go, what? It's like, dude, expand the horizons here. I drive my car 2,500 to 3,000 miles a day. I will go online and I will say, show me the scientific study on blah, blah, blah. And then I listen to it because you can do that on your cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sit there and I listen to these things. If I don't understand it the first time, I rerun it and I could be driving all day or all week and still listening to the same study until it clicks in and I understand what they're talking about. Again, it's difficult to read those, but take the time so you don't get scammed, guys.
Everything is a scam off of your
lack
of education, and that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember they're not the experts. They're selling you something.
Right.
All of them want you to buy something. In the wellness community, they want you to buy their drinks, their vitamins, their IV stuff. I looked this stuff up. They want to hook you up to an IV. And I'm not even sure what they're supposed to do. Fortify something and
they
drain toxins
flood you with
something.
vitamin C and certain things, and they say it's going to push out the toxins in your body.
Which is ridiculous because too much vitamin C, you just pee that right out.
Right.
It just comes right out of you.
Absolutely. And that's what you do when you get one of those. You actually run to the toilet and you're peeing so much.
When you look at these sites, if it's a remediation company, a mold sampler, or a wellness, you have to look at it and say, what are they trying to sell me?
What are they trying to sell?
Because the bottom line is they want to sell you something.
Right.
Even if it's only to say, oh, I might get somewhere from that one pill is not going to cost me too much money. You've already made them more money than
and we're pill
they
seekers.
should be making. Yes.
United States
Everybody
are pill
wants
seekers.
a pill to do something.
It has to be a pill. Don't tell me to go exercise. Don't tell me to go, meditate. Don't tell me to slow down. It has to be a pill. So wellness professionals sell pills. Oh, it's got to be this strange root berry at the bottom of the ocean, and the only African naked pygmies have to dive down there and cultivate it for 4 hours with one gulp of breath before they come back up, or else it's all ruined. They got a whole story over this process. So I love those stories. But when you go to your wellness professionals, just understand they don't know shit. Period. They don't. You try to compare them to a medical doctor who's been to school for what? I think it is. It's 11 years. And then you go to your internship and you're learning everything about it. It's grueling. What is a certified mold gypsy or wellness gypsy? Understand what they were taught in their quick certification school online. Now they're an expert.
You might even see osteopath, though. I've seen that a lot.
Osteopaths are great.
They can be. They can also be vampires that are just
they can be vampires. But osteopaths are actually have a higher level of education in nutrition and biology and wellness than a medical doctor does. I know this because I went to the osteopathic school in Pomona many years ago with one of the doctors who was a heart surgeon, and he wanted me to go talk to him. For some reason in his head, he thought I should become an osteopath. So I went there and I was like, but I already run a business. I had a whole gym. So I go, I'm sitting in this whole big room. It was their meeting room with the dean. And he tells me the story on how the medical FDA, the medical community leaned on the FDA to stop insurance companies from considering osteopaths the same or better than medical doctors. And they got demoted. And that's how they got them out of the way. Those people actually have more of an expansion of wellness than the average doctor. They can do anything from chiropractic to surgeries to medical research to prescriptions to diagnose. They have a lot of education. They can also use that for the bad. Okay, so
anything that's good can be used bad against you.
But you should know your biology and your anatomy and your science up to a certain point, because it's very important to understand the human body, because that's what we're all freaked out about. We're always freaked out about cars, finances, and the human body. And those are the things you should know, because those are the biggest mistakes in life. When you can make a mistake, it's going to be one of those. And if you don't know the whole story and you just got bamboozled, that's the worst time to find out you got bamboozled. That's a New York term.
It's useless, yeah. It's not a New York term, you fool.
Bamboozled? No, it's not. No. Bamboozled. They used to bamboozle me. That's what they used to say.
Anything in a New York accent sounds like that.
Yeah. So the reality is your body will fight off mold instantly, kills them with histamines. Your body goes back to normal. If you have an allergy, you're going to have a problem.
If you have more of an allergy or less of an allergy,
you take a Zyrtec or whatever over the counter.
Allergy does not mean illness. It just means allergy.
Right. And so when you tell your description to me, particularly, I come in, I have a sports med degree, right? Or a physical education degree with emphasis on sports medicine. So you go in, and I've always done research on medical books and all that. I take my shit seriously, right? So I could tell when you're bullshitting me in the second I walk in the door. You can give that to your landlord. You can feed them all that crap you want. That's great. But when I walk in the door, I'm not in for you. I'm not for the landlord. I'm for the right person and finding out what's going on in this house by a visual inspection with moisture readers, humidity readers, depending on the age of the house, because of lack of insulation, I use temperature readings and can kind of determine differences in what's going on in the wall. That's a whole process of putting that together and understanding homes, understanding mold, understanding science, understanding codes from the city, and understanding real estate laws. Putting those all together, which my sister and I have done pretty damn well.
We like that.
We like doing
We're a little
this.
strange.
And we will end an argument rather quickly. We just had one with a lady who claimed she had what? What was the disease? It was
Mast cell syndrome?
something. But
I don't know.
the medical doctors couldn't figure that out. A wellness professional figured it out.
The mold was not remediated properly.
And
I want it remediated properly. It was done properly.
It was done properly,
There
and I
was
had to
nothing
explain
in
this
that
to her.
house.
That's an EPA regulation. If the drywall's not broken, nothing was leaking through. Therefore, he could just scrape it off, dry it out, and he can repaint over it. You don't have to. It's encapsulated. It's like putting something in a garbage bag and tying it up. It's not coming out.
She said immediately, I am more sensitive to mycotoxins. There's that word again.
Mycotoxins, yeah.
But, it's got this big old dog and
Hair and dander everywhere. Those are allergies and molds. And, mold spores live on dust. That's what the ERMI thing was all about. It's living on dust. So they squared off flooring in different houses in a community who were voluntary to this. And even that got to the point where they were like, well, person's cleaner, person's dirtier. Person has more dirt in the yard. If they don't have more dirt in the yard, do they live with their windows open? Do they not window with it? There was so many variables to these things that they can't determine the levels because everybody lives different and the amount of dust is in your house. Well, one dust spore can harbor thousands of mold spores. One dust particle can have thousands of mold spores. People don't understand how small they are. They only freak out when they see it growing. Okay, that's when people freak out. They don't put two and two, that there are no monsters in this world. You have to decide, you want to read, where do the mold spores come from should be the first question.
it never is. It's not the scary way.
And it's never,
It doesn't bleed.
They
If
go,
it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. You
can it
gotta
kill
go
me? Can
back
it
to
kill
that.
me? Not where does it come from? If you, what? It comes from trees, plants, mulch, dirt, and grass. Yeah. Now let's go into a theory here. What's around those all the time? Gardeners. You play baseball. You play football. You play soccer. You play whatever. And it's all on grass and you're running around all day and it's all over your clothes, your shoes, your hair, everywhere. It's in your lungs. It's blowing around in the air. People watching the sports are getting the same mold spores. But your body's doing such a great job at keeping you alive and protecting you, you don't know. So you immediately wipe out the existence of a immune system in your body that protects you from a lot of other pathogens. And then when your imagination is great enough, you can see these things in full flow as they're going into your nostrils and they're killing you and they're doing all sorts of bad shit in your body. That's what a wellness professional wants you to believe. And how are they going to detox you? If they told you the truth about mycotoxins, that it's not about, even in wet buildings, the CDC, the EPA have all said the studies on mycotoxins for those is pointless. It's about food, rotted food. If you're going to eat rotted, severely rotted food that has bacterial, viral, and mold, you're going to get a mycotoxin overload from the bad food, not from the building. So even if that scam artist comes in, does your air sample and says, oh, you got high levels of mycotoxins. Well, of course, that's what molds produce. And they're in our body. You can't stop it. So how are you supposed to stop it from breathing it in the air? And that's a nano percentage, like before we said, a nano percentage of the airspace. Think of the whole rest of the room with the same amount that you're reading on this chart, and now you got even more mold than you even think. How are you not dead? Cancer people don't even die. They drink green drinks constantly, 8 of 10, 20 of them a day. Well, mold
Raw
spores are in
vegetables,
green
if you're a vegetarian,
vegetables.
big time.
And how are they not dying? They have no immune system. They got chemo going through their body, cooking them up, right? But they're not dying. They're supposed to be getting better.
Remember, they're trying to sell you something.
Yep. Trying to sell you something. So I hope you learned a lot about histamines, mold sampling.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back. right, we're back.
All right, kids, we've talked a lot about the histamines. We got a little off track. The wellness community, what all that's doing to scare you. It's always going to come back to who's scaring you out of your money.
Right.
Always stop and think, what are they trying to sell me?
Mm-hmm.
And then do your research.
And do your research, even if your pastor's talking to you about whatever. Research it.
Mm-hmm.
If your attorney is telling you something, research it. Go to the right places. Don't go to another private website that could say whatever they want. So you learn the laws of what you need to know, the science of what you need to know. You put just those two information together, and now you can come up with a conclusive understanding of whether or not you're being bullshitted or not.
Mm-hmm. Most of us are allergic to something.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are allergic to everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing, but it's not going to kill you. And you can do things to manage that.
Right. And if you change your lifestyle, you change your food, you know your allergies, you know what foods you're supposed to, because food even has histamines in it. So it's in foods and it's in your body. It makes within your body. So if you eat food with too high of histamines and you're not supposed to, like, I don't know, peanut allergies or whatever, you're going to go into anaphylactic shock, and
that's a big allergic reaction. Okay.
And there's like 7 to 9 different levels of reactions for allergies, and it's different levels of medications. So your body can react very differently towards those. The funny thing is, all of these people always have the very simpler one, trying to make it seem exaggerative and adding symptoms that are not allergy related. So when you do that, just understand, as a tenant, you're going to get caught sooner or later. You're going to be made a fool of.
And on the flip side, if the landlord is not listening to you, we will make him listen.
We'll make him listen to you. We'll go in there and we'll say code enforcement can get you for this. And if you don't do something now, they're going to come in and they're going to fine you daily until you fix that damn.
Most of the time, it is tenants and pay my rent-itis.
Yeah, they just don't want to pay their rent.
They don't want to. It's just like on cops when they've run 2 miles to get away from the cops. Mm-hmm. Now they're going, I think the hospital. It's incarceritis. That's what they call it. It's the same thing. It's legit.
Yeah. So we hope you learned something today about how your body is always working to protect you. Mold isn't going to kill you.
You're going to be fine.
And
we'll see you on the next time.
Come back.
Remember, our questions.
We want questions on Instagram, so send them to me.
Send them in.
And I'll read them online.